What is up, everybody? I decided to make some serious big changes to this podcast, basically changing it from AI Geeks to the CEO Retort. And the key reason for this, some of you have been following me for quite a while. They know that I've been involved in AI at a very high level since 1998, both as a scientist and as a tech entrepreneur of 20 plus years. And one of the things that I've been talking about through this podcast and pretty much speeches and so on, about how AI and digital tech has become an integral part of your lives. And it's been so for at least 20 years. So much so that now it's influencing what I see in my mind as the 5 pillars of our society. The 5 areas that we all care about. No matter what your political affiliations are, if any, we all care about these things equally. And that is our health, our environment, our identity, our education, and our finance. All of these things have been completely impacted and dominated by digital tech and AI. And I think in the recent years, we started to see even some serious political influences that are becoming more negative. We're starting seeing influences from the likes of the manosphere. We started seeing influences from political campaigns that are on the far right or the far left, very toxic. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. The point is, I've been witnessing for quite a long time, there are narratives that are being pushed upon all of us through social media, but also the mainstream media for quite a long time. In fact, I know this very well because part of my career involved using AI to fight misinformation, predominantly in science and healthcare, so to fight the anti-vaxxer movement, for example. And I have to say to you that, frankly, one of the biggest sources of misinformation, be it intentional or not, but basically poor reporting of scientific information in healthcare, is the mainstream media. And one of the things that I relied upon for quite a while, although I've stopped doing that recently, is podcasts. Because the beauty of podcasts and the whole point of podcasts is that it's not part of the mainstream media, or it's not really influenced by anybody. It's basically a bunch of people who decided that they want to take upon themselves to challenge the narratives or challenge, whatever leaders that are pushing bullshit, basically, in a way that journalists have not been doing for quite a long time, because effectively they want to sell you information. They try to clickbait you into their stories. However, what I've noticed also quite recently, I would say maybe since the pandemic, that a lot of the major podcasters started to do the same thing as the mainstream media. So they try to clickbait you into their podcasts, into their episodes, because they're bringing in controversial and pretty weird guests that have literally no qualification to say anything. So they would bring in pseudoscientists, they would bring in charlatans, liars. Now, I have no issues if you are inviting people like that. And yes, you are getting a lot of attention, sponsorships, money. That's fine. That's cool. It's a business. But if you bring people like that, you need to challenge them. There has to be a pushback to whatever narratives that they're trying to push. But what I've seen is that a lot of the major podcasters, they don't do that. So they bring in controversial guests that literally lie through their teeth to the audience. And it's like no pushback. So what's the point? How does that make these podcasters any different from mainstream media? And even though I still respect some of these podcasters and I like them as well, but I stopped listening to all of their stuff because I'm like, I'm a very busy person. I haven't got time to listen to some weirdo sitting there talking about flat earth without any kind of pushback. It becomes a bit of a useless debate because, to be honest with you, I think the reason for this is because we seem to be living in a world where people expect you to agree with them. And it's like, if you don't agree with them, you become their enemy. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. And I speak as a scientist, as an innovator. Let me tell you one thing. Maybe you don't know about that. One of the key reasons why new ideas emerge is people challenge each other through an argument, for example, right? Or debate. So if I surround myself with yes men and I say something dumb and stupid and start making stupid claims about it, AI can do all sorts of weird things that in reality can never do. But the yes men around me, they would be literally just nodding their heads like idiots. Yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, you're so amazing, you're so clever, right? You don't get innovation from that. But innovations that I've been involved with over the years involved me surrounding myself with some of the best people in the world at what they do. And we literally just bang our heads into one another until new ideas come out. So you'd have somebody with idea, say A, another one with idea B, and they just, they clash, they argue, whatever, and idea C emerges as a result of that. Most innovations come like that. Not every single time, obviously, but most of them do. So the idea that we simply have to just agree on everything is ridiculous. And I feel podcasts world is like, there's a lot of smaller podcasters that are basically still keeping it clean, but the major ones, I'm afraid, they're starting to kind of basically be as bad as the mainstream media. So I decided I want to jump in here because I started off, like I said earlier, talking predominantly about AI because obviously AI is the key talking point right now. But I feel that we've reached a point where we need to talk way beyond AI now. So AI is there, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, that's irrelevant, but it's just there, like digital tech. But also with what we've seen with the American elections and also European elections as well, there is now a push towards a particular type of AI regulation, or rather the lack of, that I think is going to be quite dangerous, would have some very serious societal implications based on the 5 pillars that I've just talked about. So I want to really use this podcast as an opportunity for me to add my 2 cents, as it were, to the debate because of my experience, because of who I am, because of my background, not to mention being a business person, being an ex-pro athlete. Effectively, I tick all the kind of boxes that you would expect to see a person in the manosphere, even though I'm not part of that, obviously. But I feel that we need to push back on some of the stupid narratives that actually don't work and in fact impact negatively both young men and young women in multiple different ways. And I want to bring experts that discuss this in an honest, open manner. And of course, I will challenge them if I feel that they're saying some nonsensical crap. Of course, as a biomedical scientist, I know quite a lot of these things, not everything, of course. But the idea is, I want to use my knowledge to challenge, but also to invite new ideas, to invite counter arguments, to invite healthy conversations where through debates, all of us together can actually learn and unite and move forward together. I think this is really the key point, because what we've seen, certainly since 2016 with politics and Brexit, Trump or whatever, they just want to divide us and rule. That's all they care about. They don't care about uniting us. They talk about that, but they don't do it. So it's part of our responsibility, I believe, as innovators. I'm just one, and I'm trying to use this platform to call other innovators to come in. You may have seen the guests I've already had, and you've seen that they're major thinkers, that they want to change the world in the same sort of way and from various different angles. I mean, we live in a very complicated world. Of course, there isn't one way of doing it. But I feel that there needs to be a platform, certainly in my opinion, where podcasting is back to what it used to be, and that is challenging the narrative in a way that benefits all of us. It's not about just arguing, it's not about just kissing ass or whatever. It's about knowledge, it's about experience, it's about unification, it's about moving forward in a positive, healthy way. And the name CEO Retort, well, basically that's what I'm doing. I'm a CEO that challenging the status quo, as I've been doing my entire career as an entrepreneur. That's what we do, especially in the world of tech. So I hope you're excited with this change as well. I'm very excited. I have to say a little bit nervous because I am going to be stepping away from the area that I know very well, which is of course AI and tech. That's kind of like my bread and butter, as it were. But I think it's really cool because as an entrepreneur, I've always learned on the job. So I think this is really cool. And we already have a phenomenal guest that joined us for the next episode that's coming out on Thursday, November 21st. So make sure you check this out. She's going to be talking to us about the impact of technology AI on our brain development and cognitive decline. Oh yes, you really want to listen to this one. So as always, guys, I appreciate your support to help us grow this channel and this movement and this mission of us learning together, uniting, and be positive about the world, even though it seems a bit negative. But I think through knowledge, through facts, we can actually rebuild whatever that's been broken. It will take time. It's not going to be easy, but we need to be very open about our discussions and our ideas. So with that, I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much for your support. Share, like, subscribe. You know the deal. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.